In today's episode of Value on My Toy Collection, we're going to value some Disney fairies and some Filipino Barbies. Hey everyone, my name's Chris. I'm a full-time beauty pageant director as my career, but in my spare time, I'm a huge toy collector. I've been collecting toys now for over 40 years. You can officially call me a toyaholic. Thanks so much for checking out my YouTube channel. My channel consists mainly of two things: beauty pageants, which I love, and toys, which I love even more. My dream in life has always been to own a toy museum. So it's finally happened. I've bought a building, and now I've got to move this massive collection and value it into the building. We're calling it the Toy Vault because it's an old bank building located in Crystal Springs, Mississippi that actually has two large vaults. So now I'm just going to make a ton of videos and value my toy collection, and then I'm going to make some where I take you shopping with me to thrift stores and flea markets and toy stores to let you see where I find all these goodies. So let's start this episode of Valuing My Toy Collection and value some toys. So let's jump right in and start valuing some toys for this episode. First off, we're going to start with these little bitty fairy figures in the front. And we have these little Tinkerbell type fairies, and they have glitter tops. And they're worth about $5 each. And I think we have 4 of these. They probably came in a gift pack at one point, and someone just opened them up, and we bought them at a yard sale or something. It looks like they had wings on their back originally, but I think only maybe one of mine now have the wings. No, 2 of them. 2 have the wings and 2 don't, but they're worth about $5 each. Next up, we have this little fawn fairy, and she's worth about $8. And then this little small one's worth about $3. And these are actually witch figures from Happy Meal Toys, and they're worth $7 each. Now this little pink-haired doll is a Flutter Pixie from Barbie, worth about $6. And these 3 fairies are all worth about $8 each. And then we have this tall Zarina doll. She's worth about $25. And then we have Tinkerbell with a little spool, worth about $8. And another Flutter Pixie worth $6. A little Winx figure worth about $5. And then we have a ton of these. We have 8 of these loose little fairies. And I figure they're all worth about $5 each. So that's another $40. And this one, the Fairy Queen, is worth about $10. And then there's some more of our loose figures we already valued. And then this little pink and blue fairy is worth about $3. And this little Oriental Trading rubber fairy is worth about $1. And then we have 3 more of these little taller fairies, and they're worth at least $5 each. I couldn't find these online, so I'm not sure what line they actually came from. And then we have this little fairy medallion. It has a rainbow inside of it. It's worth about $3. Not worth a lot, but every dollar gets us to that grand total. This fairy is worth about $5. And then this was also worth about $5. And this one is called a La-Di-Da Cyan. She's worth $10. And the Blooming Thumbelina doll is worth $15. And then we have some still in the box. This is the Tink for a Tinkerbell. And she's worth about $40. And then we have Rosetta. She's worth about $65. And then we have Fawn. She's worth about $65. And then we have Silver Mist. She's worth about $65. And then we have Iridessa, and she's worth about $80. She's the most valuable one in the set. Then I found these by surprise. I didn't even know these were hiding back here. But we have tons of loose fairy dolls. They probably came from a thrift store or a yard sale. I don't even remember. I didn't even know they were back here when I moved the boxes around. But we have 10 of these, and they're worth at least $12 each. Some of them are worth a little bit more than that. But that's $120 we can add to the set. That's not bad at all. And then we have a little Tinkerbell in the back. She still has her whole entire fairy outfit on, and she's worth more like $20. So that's what, $140 just hidden behind the boxes I didn't even remember we had. So I hope I can keep everything for the toy museum, but I might have to sell some stuff if I run out of room to display everything. The building's 5,000 square feet. It probably needs to be 20,000 square feet. But here's that Tinkerbell I was talking about with her original outfit on. This loose fairy, she's worth about $15. I don't know what line she came from. Maybe Catherine's collection, I'm not sure. This book is worth $15. That's pretty valuable for a book. And then we have these rare porcelain dolls. This one is of Rosetta, and she's worth about $45. And then we also have the porcelain doll of Tinkerbell right next to her, and she's worth about $55. And then in the very back of the shelf, hidden behind everything, we had this 6-pack of fairies. They're worth $215. That was a great way to conclude that shelf with all those. Now we'll move on to our Filipino toys. The Philippine Jeepney in the box worth about $20. And then just randomly, we had these little bears on that shelf. They were worth about $3 and $3, so $6 worth of bears. And then we have this cute little scene that someone made inside a jar. It was a Filipino souvenir, and it's worth about $12. All right, then we have the Philippine Islands Ken doll, and he's in his formal shirt. I forgot what it's called, but he's worth about $150. And then we have this smaller Filipino doll. She's just in a small box, but she's still worth $65. And next up from 1998, we have this Flores de Mayo doll, and she's from the Santa Cruzan Festival, I believe. She's worth about $160. And then we have several more. These are all the Santa Cruzan Festival, and this one's worth about $150. I looked them all up, and they're all pretty much worth about the same thing. This one's worth about $150, but the coolest thing about these dolls are their outfits. They're covered in sequins and beads and floral prints. They're very beautiful dolls, and there was a lot of time put into making these dolls, and they weren't nearly that expensive when they first came out. They're just, they appreciated in value a whole lot. This one's worth about $150 as well. Look at that dress, pretty nice. And then we have a couple more. This one's also worth about $150. You'd really have to see them in person, how pretty they are. And then I have one more hidden back there, and she's also worth about $150. These were all actually brought to me from the Philippines as gifts. Well, in our previous 425 videos of value in my toy collection, our collection was worth $1,048,953. Now, when we add this video of our Disney fairy dolls and our Filipino dolls, we can add another $2,189 to our total. So that means our overall grand total for episode 426 of value in my toy collection is now $1,051,142. I can finally say I have $1 million toy collection. I guess I can call myself a toyonaire because I'm not really a millionaire. I've just been saving toys all my life, going to garage sales, flea markets, thrift stores, toy stores, and looking online, and it's just accumulated to that big old total. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're enjoying these videos as much as I am making them. I like to see what all I have and what it's actually worth. And I'm putting all the toys online on our Facebook page, which is called the Toy Vault of Mississippi. So go check that out and you can see the toys up close. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please do, because it certainly helps us grow. So until our next video, we will see you then.